let's talk about developmental psychology. So we're on prenatal development topic today. So there are 3 types of teratogens, which tera means monsters in Greek. So drugs, environmental, and infectious diseases. But they're controllable teratogens, I hope I pronounced it correctly, which is caffeine, alcohol, cigarettes, consumption, stress, nutrition, and age. So these things are going to affect the baby somehow. Now let's dive into the biology side a little bit. So we have 23 pairs of chromosomes in the human cell, and 22 of them are autosomes, and 22 pairs, and 1 pair of them is sex chromosome, which determines the sex of the baby. Now, there are many problems that can come from the sex chromosome. For example, the chromosome abnormality that causes many problems like motor and language delay, you being clumsy, intellectual disability. For example, Down syndrome. We know Down syndrome is not from a chromosome because it's from an autosome. So one of the other is Turner syndrome. So it's the XXX chromosome. So you have an extra X in your normal chromosomes. You only have 2X or XY. So in this one, you're gonna have motor and language delay. You're gonna be usually clumsy and tall. And this only affects women because it's XX, right? But there's an extra X. So one other type is Klinefelter's. It only affects the male population because it's XXY. There's a Y in there. So these are all sex chromosomes. So this affects your intellectual disability. Okay. So that's the chromosome side. Now we have this thing called epigenetics, which means that the environment can influence the way that our genes are. So it's affected by the chemicals that's attached to it. But bear in mind that epigenetics does not affect all of your DNA. Some of it only affects the brain. So if you want to test for if you have epigenetics and you want to take your blood or saliva to test for it, you might not see it because it only happens inside the brain. So what came to my mind when I was studying this was that a study showed that trauma can affect your baby. So because of epigenetic effects. So for example, Holocaust survivors, the children or grandchildren will have poor physical and psychological health compared to their peers. And I was thinking, because I read this book on The Body Keeps the Score, which talks about how if you have trauma, then in the future you might have you're more prone to heart diseases or diabetes. So that's how negatively trauma can affect you. But I was thinking, can it affect you in a positive way? So for example, you become more resilient, stronger, or hopeful about life because during Holocaust, you know how people survived? It's because of hope. They hold on to this hope that one day they'll get out. Or they celebrate festivals like Christmas, and that's how they lift up their spirits. Or it's really sad because some of them, they use dark humor to survive. So they're just using humor and having some hope. And I was thinking whether that can help with the epigenetics effects, leading to a better offspring for your children. And another thought is that if epigenetic effects can carry on to your grandchildren, then does this mean it's evolution happening in a very fast way? Because usually evolution happens over thousands and millions of years, but this one's only 1 or 2 generations. So it's just a thought that I would probably ask my professors when I go to class. Okay, that is developmental psychology for today, about prenatal development and genetics. Bye.